Hello and welcome to Global Morning Weekend. It's a Saturday and we're here again to grace your screen and give you all the gists. I like to call it gists because it's a weekend. Let's relax a bit and tell you all the activities happening around the world. But we'll start here in Nigeria. Welcome. I am Anita Patrick and I won't be doing this alone. I have my co-host with me in person of Mukhtar. Mukhtar is always looking different when it comes to the weekend. Please help me ask him what's happening.
Good
Hello,
morning, Anita. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world.
It's good to
also
see
looking
you.
splendid. The lady in white, I'll call it today.
We're not doing the pink today.
We're not doing pink today. We're taking it a different
All the
level.
multicolors.
Certainly. It's a beautiful Saturday.
Yes,
and it's a beautiful day today.
Yeah, it is, and we have loads of activities. Like we always tell you, we have the newspaper review segments. We also have our discussion segments. We also bring you aerobics and the Did You Know segments. And don't forget that the discussion segments are always the interesting part you wouldn't want to miss. Today we have amazing guests who will be joining us, talk about things pertaining to the youth, and we'll also look at the issues pertaining to the girl child. Don't forget today, right?
I forgot to tell you,
Yeah.
Happy International Girl Child Day.
You know, I am always excited.
And you know, obviously, I'm an advocate for the girl child.
You don't have a choice.
Thanks
When you
to
have me
and
like
many
this,
beautiful women around me, obviously.
you know, he doesn't have a choice. This day is our day,
It
girl
is your
child.
day.
It's our day to be celebrated, and that's one conversation we're going to be having on the Global Morning segment today. So you don't want to miss. We'll have exciting things to tell you how you can care for us as women.
Of course, they say women run the world.
Yeah, we run the
Women
world.
run the world. I agree with that for today, since it's your day.
No,
but
not
tomorrow,
after today. Don't decide.
you know, I'll tell you that what women can do.
No. We won't do that conversation. We won't have that conversation today.
We will not do that.
Because
It's
it's
your
our
day.
day. Let's
Certainly.
have a good time. Well, we want to say congratulations to every girl child and every woman who started as a girl.
Yes.
It's our day, so we need to celebrate ourselves. We'll have that discussion segment with an expert who will bring us all of the conversation on how women should grow tougher.
Certainly.
And be more experienced.
And I hope they tell men how to also, because women have said men do not take care of them as much as they should. I hope your guests will have an insight as to how women or men
should be taken care of. How the men should take care of the women.
Yes, certainly. And how women also should take
We've
care
always
of
been
their
doing
men.
that, Mukhtar. You cannot take that away from us.
Yes, you have.
Well, that's it. Well, we'll just quickly take a few of our papers, if time permits, and then we'll just have our guests join us. We'll start with the very first conversation around the entrepreneurship for youth and looking at financial stability. How stable are the young people keeping up with their entrepreneurship area of life in terms of their businesses and all that? We'll bring that conversation. But Mukhtar, let's just quickly jump on newspaper and take some papers for the day. We have a rundown, but we'll take that after this time out. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's jump at it quickly. We have papers lined up for you. We have the Nation newspaper. We have the Punch. We have Weekend Trust. We have Tribune. We have Vanguard. We have Blueprint newspaper. We also have other ones lined up as well. Welcome back to the segment. Well, let's quickly start with the front page cover of the Nation newspaper and tell you what's happening. Is a countdown to 2027 and a whole lot of conversations around that. But let's see what it says boldly here. It says PDP crashes in Enugu as Mba, others join APC Tuesday, with a writer that says, governor, lawmakers, party executives exit party en masse. We also have PDP kicks, says governors being intimidated, coerced to defect. And we also have put your house in order. We are not architects of your woes. APC speaking to, and that story is on page 4. Mukhtar, what's your take on this? Let me talk to you as I'm talking to my guests.
Well, like you said, these are all boiling to conversations around 2027.
Yeah.
And we've seen the APC as hegemony and dominance across many states.
Yeah.
And they are now cruising into the southeast states. And we're seeing Enugu now saying that the governor and many party stalwarts will be joining the APC. And people have said, is Nigeria turning into a one-party system? Are we having just one party dominating? And then the APC is saying it's not our fault. If the people want to join us voluntarily, it is their choice.
It's a choice. Life is choice. You have left and right. You pick the one you want.
But there are conversations around saying, okay, there are intimidations from the federal level that is making these people join. But then none of them have come out to say we were forced.
Exactly.
They've joined by their own volition, we believe.
Okay.
And it's, like you said, all boiling out to 2027 elections.
Okay, well, that's it. We just hope that Enugu will soar high.
Exactly. Regardless of the party in government.
What we want is democracy and
dividends of
delivering.
democracy.
Yeah, that's all we'll do. That's it. Let's pick a copy of the paper and find out what that story is saying. That's on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. We also have other stories above the masthead.
Of course, above the masthead, we see court document, Amupiton not part of 2023 presidential election dispute. And the writer says, new INEC chair, not member of Tinubu's legal team. And that's according to Ogala. Of course, we've seen conversations around this new INEC chairman, and people were saying he's a part of the legal team of President Tinubu. But that is a misinformation. Or maybe I would say some people got it wrong, because from investigations, it has been seen that it was just a person who has a similar name to him. He was never part of the president's legal team. And this is the this jointer that has come out to clear the air on that particular information.
Well, it's been a tough conversation going on around the new INEC chairperson. Thank God the nominee from the council, state of council, has actually approved his nomination to become the. So let's see how it's going to fare, and when he passes through all of the hurdles.
And yes, this particular headline, they were saying the issues were, if this person was a part of the president's legal team, how can he deliver on his mandate? But of course, we've seen that that is not the situation. And we hope that he passes through the necessary method and the due diligence is done in the screening process. And beyond the screening, when he's in office, we hope he's able to deliver to the dividends of his office and the mandates given to him.
Well, all I pray for him is wisdom.
Wisdom. It's very important. Wisdom is profitable, like we say.
I'm telling you. So let's move away from that conversation and tell you other stories. We have tough times for customers as ATM fraudsters prowl banks. With the writer there that says online transfers take shine of ATM transactions. That story is there on page 11 of the Nation newspaper. There's a whole lot happening around.
Of course, using the ATM stand is a tricky thing. We see some people come in there. It's not as if they have any transactions. They are there waiting for people who would lose guard, like we say, so they can get your information and steal your cash. So we have to be very circumspect and careful when using those devices. But
if you're looking, anyway, online transaction actually, but if you look at the other means of also withdrawing, you also need to be careful when you're going to the points of sale,
POS
to also use operations and all that. It's also one area where fraudsters are also playing and taking part of it.
Financial transactions generally have, even the ones with the with your bank app and all, they all have their own trickery. So we just have to be careful in our process of
and shine your eyes.
Very importantly, shine your eyes. That's the watchword here.
That's the watchword. We'll pick up a copy and find out how you can shine your eyes and flow in your transaction. But let's take other stories here quickly.
Yes, away from that, we see a headline that says how Christopher Kolade touched our lives, and that is his associate and mentee. And of course, that's an elder statesman who has paid his dues in broadcasting. We also saw him representing Nigeria at the world stage, and he has gone home to rest, and people have been paying their tributes, glowing tributes to his legacies.
That's why it's good to have a legacy when you live your life.
Certainly, and that is one we should all abide by so that we remember it for good things.
Yes, let's say other stories. No policy change on cost of collection for revenue agencies. That's FG speaking to on page 4 there of the Nation newspaper.
Of course, a bit of business story. Away from that, we see Oshun, and he says why IGP sealed Amotekun's base over killings, extortion of residents, and details of that is on page 2 of the Nation's newspaper.
Okay, we also have 4 killed as Boko Haram attacks military base in Borno. That story is on page 6 there as well. You can pick up a copy. Well, we just hope that all of this
Insecurity would all become history someday soon.
Someday soon, we hope. Well, that's the major stories on the Nation for Saturday. Let's quickly move to other stories.
Yes, away from the Nations, we go to the Punch newspaper, which has this bold headline that says, Benin Universities, Nigerian police in NYSC fraud. And the rider says, blacklisted Benin Republic schools smuggling graduates into the NYSC scheme. Another one says, we paid 400,000 for Nigerian HND certificates. And that's according to graduates from Benin Republic. And the third rider says, it is not possible, NYSC, Education Ministry, as NBTE demands proof.
Okay,
it's the back and forth of the education sector.
Yes.
And we've seen the scheme and graduates, I don't know why, I think we spoke about this before, how we see Nigerian students go to other neighboring countries for education. And some of these institutions, they're not even accredited, and they come back to Nigeria and you see certificate fraud everywhere. So I think we need to do better, and the authorities need to be circumspect in ensuring that incidents like this are wiped off from the system. We don't need such incidents in our education system. Okay, well, we'll look at all of that and see. Let's look at a story related to that. We have certificate scandal there, how President Tinubu ordered ex-minister's resignation. That story has been one major conversation. It has now washed on all the papers and it has been making the headlines throughout last week. Throughout the week. Well, that's it. Well, we all know the stories, but pick up the copy of paper and get more on that story. That's on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. And besides, we also have the story around the Mbas Bland action. Mbas Bland APC defection, TS Enugu PDP are part. We said that already with the Nation newspaper, so pick up a copy and get to find out all the stories and what's happening around that. Well, we have other stories here. Quickly, we'll take this from dreams to despair inside the daily struggles of citizens drowning in poverty. Well, that's more like a future thing where you can tell you stories on how people are actually struggling. We saw the World Bank report that says Nigerians have, even despite the economic reforms, which they lauded of the federal government, but they've still said more people are plunging into poverty. And the government has said it's not true, but hopefully they're able to salvage the situation and turn Nigeria's woes into happy memories for the citizenry. Okay, so let's quickly look at the story. It says 4 soldiers killed as terrorists hit Borno base with grenades. That's not a good one. And insecurity, like we know, has been something that has been on the front burner, and we just hope it gets better. Okay, let's see. There's an entertainment story there. Being vulnerable, one made me Big Brother Naija. That's Imisi, right? Yes, Imisi. Speaking top there. Well, she's become one with Dunia today. She has become, certainly. Thanks to the platform, for those who followed up that trend. On that. Well, let's move away from the Punch and give you other stories making the rounds with the Weekend Trust. The Weekend Trust always has its own infographics as always. And this I like the way this is looking and how this is saying with the Weekend Trust. Yes. The Weekend Trust has its own, it says, states of emergency over insecurity. And there you have the questions like we ask as journalists. Where, when, how? And how. And then you have the insecurity there, speaking boldly, and you have a graphic illustration there of the president. Looks like the president, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he does look, and he's looking for solutions. Piecing the puzzles together on how to tackle Nigeria's insecurity situation. Exactly. You see where you have the justice, you have the unity, and you see him having states of emergency, addressing unemployment, all of the things he's trying to see, security reforms, to see how this can be changed and how these puzzles can be fixed. To see how Nigeria can overcome the issue of insecurity. Certainly, it was in the news that many veterans are now backing a call for states of emergency on Nigeria's security situations, and they feel that will be a lasting solution to waging war and making Nigeria a safer place. When I say waging war, of course, against insecurity. Exactly. That is. Well, that's it. Well, we wish him all the best, and we pray that he has
a lot of minds who can help him navigate
Of
through
course,
all of
because
this.
like we always say, it is a multi-sectoral approach.
It is a
not a president-only approach.
No,
we
it's
all
not.
have to come together. Even as citizens, we have our own contributions to making Nigeria a safer place. If you see something,
You
say
say
something. Exactly.
Well, that's it on that particular stories on page 4. Pick up a copy and find out all the stories. But let's move away from
And just
that.
below that, you see a headline that says, "Dig in for survival, the story of Plateau underage miners." And you can remember last week we had a guest who spoke extensively about the mining crisis in Nigeria. And we see even in Plateau State, situations like that are there, especially with underage miners. It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
There are so many hazards that are involved in that particular sector, and we think the government has to do better.
Well, look at it. It says on the age. It tells you that everyone is trying to survive rather. Looking at the state of things in terms of economy.
Certainly.
Yes, there are reforms, there are things put in place, but at the grassroots points, people are still struggling. So they just look for a way to survive and get to even have 3 square meals.
That's a very good perspective you just brought, because the underage here talks about how hardship, even people who are not supposed to be in that particular field, but because of how the country is not really favorable, they are seeing themselves there. And we can only hope for better.
Yeah, it gets better by the day. Well, let's look above the masthead there. We have a story that says a journey through Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. That story is on page 12. Don't forget that is still one
Still
conversation.
trendy. Of course, per kilometer,
Yes,
the conversation is still there.
Yeah, well, let's pick up a copy and find out all of the information there for you. Then we have beside that, we have Boko Haram attacks military base in Borno, 8 CJTF killed in Zamfara. And that story is on page 16, talking about the issue of insecurity there. And we have on the story there that says Gallery mass arrest. We have 11 years after, relatives await news of victims. That story is still on page 28. I see a lot of insecurity issues and a lot of around this
Honestly,
story here.
It is. It's so much insecurity, and like we said, just hope it gets better and action is taken beyond rhetorics. We've had a lot of talks. We need to see action, decisive action in place. Well,
that's away from the insecurity issue. We have something different below the masthead there, where you have the president facing the puzzle there. There you have, it says, from Abuja Straits to global stages, the Odumodu Black story.
Of course, we know Odumodu Black is an FCT boy himself. He rose through the ranks from the FCT, and now he is global. And I know the FCT is super proud of him and all his exploits across the world.
Well, congratulations to you, and we wish you more fruitful days.
Certainly we do.
Well, let's quickly move away from the Weekend Trust and tell you other stories making around with the Saturday Tribune. Saturday Tribune has its own story, still making the rounds. They're still with the Enugu. They're telling you the issue. Nigerians with defects. Okay, Nigerians with defects.
With defeat.
With
APC
defeat,
in
rather.
2027.
APC in 20. Okay.
And that's the PDP talking tough.
Okay, it's just in line. I'm trying to get this straight. In line with.
It's not saying PDP will defeat. It's saying Nigerians.
Nigerians.
Well, that's for Nigerians to decide if they intend to defeat,
Well,
if they wish to defeat still.
Nigerians
APC.
are the electorates who come out to vote, and our votes would actually tell.
It will.
It will.
And then the writer says it would not be distracted by defecting governors. That's the PDP still speaking, because we've seen many of their governors defecting to the ruling of Progressive Congress, and it's saying it will not be deterred by those little defeat, if you like to call them that. And he says, tells INEC boss to end the era of inconclusive elections.
Well, is it anyway? Let me just hold my thoughts. Let me hold my thought. But that story is on page 4. You know, I thought it was linked up with the Enugu stuff because we had that washed all papers.
Of course, it is linked up. Yes.
But let's move away from that and just tell you other stories. We also have there where it says Oshun, above the masthead, says Oshun LG crisis, council funds intact with us. Uba's lawyer tells court.
UBA's lawyer, that is. Of course, we've had situations of this LG crisis, saying their funds have been seized, and they're accusing the bank of spending those funds. But the bank has said it is intact, and the case is still in court, and I think they have a meeting on Tuesday, so we'll watch out to see how that pans out. Okay, that story is on page 5. You can pick up a copy and find out all of the stories there. Away from that, we also have there about the Ekiti governor presents the budget there of a budget of 415.57 billion naira for 2026, and you see a picture there of him presenting the budget to the State Assembly. Certainly, it's a good one, and we hope that that budget would be a prosperity budget for the people of Ekiti State. Okay.
We wish them all the best. And away from that, we have man remanded for raping, killing grandmother in Ondo.
That's not a pleasant
4.
one.
That's not something we should be having about. This is what's happening now. We can't even.
Honestly, it leaves me speechless, and it's just really sad.
Exactly sad. Well, away from that, we also have another story here. Okay.
In Kano State, and it says Kano's 1.06 billion mass wedding plan wasteful, and that group's talking tough.
Okay. Well, that's
their opinion.
That's the opinion.
Because we've seen people in Kano State married off, and the government give them a startup to go and. But this group is saying it is wasteful, and that's their opinion.
Okay. Well, we have Lagos APC hails Tinubu's pardon of Macaulay. 174 others, says it's triumph of justice and compassion. That story is on page 25 there. And okay, that's it. That's the much we have there with the weekend. Saturday Tribune there. Let's quickly tell you other stories making around, and I think this should be our last paper for the day. Okay, we still have one more to go. We have the Vanguard. Let's look at what the Vanguard is saying differently. The Vanguard has its own story differently coming to us here. We have here, it says suicide, Nigeria on the watch, and there's a whole lot of writer there that is speaking of. It says experts says stigma, poverty, punitive laws, raising drug use deepening the mental health crisis. Okay, rising use of drugs deepening the mental health crisis. We also have criminalization of attempted suicide under section 327 of Criminal Code promotes silent epidemic. We also have another writer that says 300 psychiatrists for over 200 million people. Scandalous fragile health system. We also have another one that says Vanguard's October 17 mental health summit to address critical issues. Oh, this is a whole lot. We also have Ogun records over 10,000 mental patients in 6 months. All of this conversation around the mental health and the reason why people get into suicide on page 12.
Honestly, it's not a good one, and I think maybe a state of emergency should be declared on this, because we've seen the rate of suicide increasing by the huge numbers in Nigeria, and they've linked it up to mental health crisis, which I think is an issue that we as a people, not only the government, as a people, we all have to come together and help address, because we see some people going through tough times, and instead of showing them empathy, we tend to judge them, not knowing that they have their own issues they are dealing with.
Yeah.
So these are things that need to be on the front burner of the conversations, and actions need to be taken to address this, because it's not a good one.
It's not a good one at all. If you look at the breakdown there, it shows a whole lot of things happening.
It's a huge number, 10,000 in one particular state, mental patients.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
You know, I was coming to work this morning and I saw something while we're driving. A lady just jumped into the road and we just got screaming. I'm like, what?
Absent-mindedness. Only got through the thought process she was engaged in at that particular time.
Oh my God.
And that's why I said what we need to be is empathetic and kind as a people.
Okay. Well, Nigeria are very hospitable.
We are. Of course we are. And we can still do better. There's always room for improvement.
Okay. Well, that's it on that. Pick up a copy and find out all that surrounds that particular story. Well, let's take you below the picture there. The picture story says terror in Kwara. APC chieftain laments military not taking orders from NSA, wants Tinubu to intervene. That story is on page 5. And we also have other stories as well.
Of course, it says, and Prof. Amupiton, colleagues hail resilience of a man who traced wife's stolen car to Mali and recovered it. That's speaking about the new INEC chairman and his resilience, which we hope he would bring to the electoral process, and of course turn the tide in our electoral process. And away from that, we see Trump loses a bit of international story. Trump loses Nobel Prize to Venezuela's Maria Machado, and that is on page 5. Of course, Trump was nominated for the Nobel Prize, but he has lost to the opposition leader in Venezuela, and she has been given that prize for her work in restoring democracy to her country, and we say a very big congratulations to her. And yeah, she acknowledged Trump and saying she dedicated her award to him and his fights for democracy. And that's a pleasant one, actually. Okay, well, we also have another story there above the masthead where it says how Benin Palace shut down Iyaloja politics in Edo markets. That story is on page 15. And that's it. We can take on the Vanguard. Let's quickly run through the story with the Blueprints Weekend. We have the Blueprints Weekend
has its own story.
Yes, it
comes
has
up
this
differently.
mass headline which says recklessness as the kicker. Truck drivers now killers on highway, Nigerians lament. And the writer says reckless driving a national emergency. According to experts, there's breakdown in regulations, oversight. Many trucks are old, poorly maintained, according to Transporter. And this one says we organize periodic training for truck drivers. That's according to the VIO. And details of this story are on pages 8 and 9 of the Blueprint newspaper.
Well, that's it. Well, there's a whole lot happening that we've seen that issue around the truck drivers. It's not been one. It's not a pleasant one at all.
Like it says, they're not killers on the highway. That's an interesting take because we've seen them run over people many times, and it's a recurring decimal every single time, and that tide needs to change. We can't.
Well, it needs
like
to change
this.
Sincerely, because it's not a good one. I saw a trending video where a truck driver, I think it was in Lagos, where the truck driver, I think he had run into the private car, and he was trying to run away. The private car kept.
Of course, I won't let you go.
I won't let you go. You're not kind of playoff. I won't let you go. You need to sort out what you've done and ensure that you take responsibility of what you've just done.
Certainly.
Well, we just hope that they do more of that. But let's move away from that and tell you other stories there. We have where it says early marriage threatens national growth. Minister speaking tough there.
I should be the Minister of Women Affairs, I believe.
Yes. I'm trying to place in my head early marriage threatens national growth.
Well,
we'll
find details of that, of course,
Please
in
page
11.
Because I'm going to do that as well. Let's move away and talk about the issue of drugs. We have there says drug addiction responsible for 80% crimes in Nigeria. And they have Osatimehi.
Of course, that's and the NDLEA was in that particular place. And I think he's not totally wrong. Because many of our issues are drug related. You see people who are intoxicated and they do all sorts of things. Because once you are intoxicated, you can do anything. So this is actually one that should be looked in critically and actions should be taken.
Well, we have another story, some cheering news a bit about the Super Eagles. Super Eagles, where we know we're playing. We're doing calculations of table of chances.
We're doing calculations up until now. But even that victory has spoiled our chances and given us edge. I think we're number 2, if I'm not mistaken, or is it number 3 on the table?
We are still number 3. Because we still have other ones going on. But the good thing is that Nigeria actually won, even though a lot of people are still not comfortable with the play. Yes, that is how we're going to bring that to
someone said
the World Cup.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Because even if you narrowly escape and get to the World Cup, what would you be bringing to the table?
But you know one thing for me, Mukhtar, let's get to the World Cup, because it would be really bad that we don't show up in the World Cup two times in a row. So if we play and we got the win, the good thing is we got the win.
Yes, we did.
We got the win. But the thing is, it's a work in progress and we're making progress.
Like someone said, it doesn't matter the method. What matters is the result. We got the result. And of course, we are playing Benin Republic next, and if we're able to get victory,
and we hope that we
South Africa does not win, which we hope they don't, Nigeria would boost their chances of being in the World Cup.
Okay, we wish Nigerians all the best. Super Eagles. We wish ourselves
the best.
Well,
Nigerians proudly.
We are proudly Nigerians, and we hope that we come out all, because I want us to be in the World Cup. That's basically. But let's quickly move away from that story and give you the other stories there that speaks also quickly. We also have other stories that says Kwara courts. We have wife seeks divorce, says husband's jobless, has no source of livelihood in this economy. Let's talk about that. Let's quickly take a story. Nollywood has more access to broader markets than Kannywood. That's Abazaki speaking. That's on page 17. And then we have lastly down there at the bottom plate, there we have 1986 school. Vasta family thumbs up Tinubu over state pardon, insists son innocent.
That's the president, has pardoned many people, and people have said that is a good move by the president. So I think we should commend him for that. And if you want to see details of this particular story, pick up this paper and check the page 6 of that paper. Details are there.
Well, that's what we call it. We say we hope we've got you informed. We've got you educated.
Yes, I have been educated and informed, certainly.
And that's it. The much we can take on newspaper review segments on this particular hour of the programming. Don't forget, we have a rundown, and we've taken the first of it, and we have the discussion segments, which will be coming to you shortly. Please stay glued on the screen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.